Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be taking a look ahead into the EPL action coming up this weekend. And of course, the big showpiece matchup, Manchester United takes on Chelsea. And another big game, we also have Arsenal playing away to Newcastle. Now, joining me this evening to preview these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have returned into the podcast, Sir Cole.
Blessings and respect, everyone.
Yes, indeed, Sir Cole. Yes, indeed. Lots have taken place since our last conversation. Managerial sacking, Ten Hag is now history. And we have rumors of a new coach coming in. Of course, Van Nistelrooy took over as interim manager, where Manchester United did manage to get a win over Leicester in the Carabao Cup. What says you, Sir Cole? Is it the right decision to get rid of Ten Hag? And what's your thought process as it relates to the possible appointment of a new manager? And who will that new manager be? What's the rumor mill saying?
Well, I assume we are listening to the same sources. Um, I can't say it's the right decision at this point. What I will say is that it would have been a wrong decision to have kept Ten Hag for much longer. So it's rather to have to try with someone new than to go with the tried and failing. In my opinion, at least failing with where the league is concerned, because he has won two cups in 2 years. But really and truly, the league showing has been one thing. So I think at this point, it's probably the right decision to have bid farewell and bring in someone new ideas and see what they can do with this squad.
Well, I mean, the next question is who is this new coach? Who should Manchester United be going for? Should it be a Van Nistelrooy, possibly being permanently appointment, or someone else? I'm hearing Amorim, the current coach of Sporting Lisbon over there in the Portuguese league. He seemed to be the front runner, and it sounds as if it's all gonna be done and dusted in short order. What's your take on that manager? What do you know of him, Sir Cole? Is he the man to lead Manchester United forward, or is it a case where he will come in, the team will get that new coach bounce, and then you revert back to the same cycle?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. I really don't know much of him, right? Apart from that he's a coach of a team in Portugal. I really haven't observed his team play. I don't know really how they play, what his own philosophy is. I really don't know much about him. Rather than since the last few days, his name has really come up. So I'm really in the dark as to what his style of play is. One thing I've heard though, which I like, is how he sets up his team. So if he follows that template, which I saw on some media mediums some days
Three
ago,
at the back.
then
He's a stalwart for playing three at the back.
yes, let's see how that works at Man U because we're basically used to playing four, so not sure how the three we really work out. But fingers crossed. I'm hoping it works.
Indeed, indeed. Well, interesting times ahead, definitely over there at Manchester United. And of course, Sir Cole, the games are still coming thick and fast. The fact that Ten Hag fired their manager doesn't put the league on pause. And of course, Manchester United played midweek in the Carabao Cup, and Van Nistelrooy seemed to have galvanized that team. They pretty much blow Leicester away, and they are now into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. I mean, Van Nistelrooy should be taking, I would say, charge of this game also, Circle versus Chelsea. What can we expect from a Van Nistelrooy-led Manchester United team? Will this team be good enough to get a win over Chelsea, which they surely need at this point in time?
I saw bits and pieces of the Carabao Cup game. When I joined watching that game, the game was pretty much almost over already with Manu having a healthy lead. Um, it would seem as if he has really gotten the attacking part of the team. I won't say right, but they did click a lot better against Leicester. Mind you, Leicester is really a defense of reference. So won't really get too carried away with that display as yet. But it's a good boost for the confidence going into this weekend game versus Chelsea.
Yes, that one ended 5-2, I believe, Sir Cole.
Correct. Yeah.
What Casemiro getting a brace, Bruno Fernandes getting a brace, and of course Garnacho popping up with a goal as well. And it's pretty much a long time since we've seen United scoring five in any game, in any competition, in all
It's been a
honesty.
while. It's been a while,
So
quite a while.
that's definitely a positive look. And of course, it's possible that the team has now gotten that new manager bounce circle. So the team seem to have galvanized, having gotten Ten Hag out, and is now playing some sumptuous football under Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Well, it's one
What's it?
game. You can't. It's not. Sometimes football yet. It's only one game.
Well,
So,
it's a much better display than one would have seen under Ten Hag, in all honesty. Possibly one of the better displays from Manchester United since the start of this season. And it came through an interim manager in the form of Ruud van Nistelrooy. And it seemed as if, Sir Cole, that Van Nistelrooy was brought into the coaching staff for this moment in particular. It seemed as if the upper management or the board had this in mind, where the possibility existed where they would sack Ten Hag, appoint Van Nistelrooy as an interim until a permanent solution could be found. And it seemed as if that strategic move is now paying dividend.
as I said, it's only one game, and it's a cup game. So it's really, if that is the thinking, then how many games would he have been brought in to manage? You probably could have just have waited until you started things out, and then fire Ten Hag, and then just simply move to the next coach. It wouldn't have been necessary to just
Well,
hire
it
him
just
to coach
seemed
for one
rather
or two games.
peculiar to me, though, Circle, when he was appointed initially. Is almost as if the writing was on the wall. He was just somewhat understudying Ten Hag until it was his turn to really step into the hot seat. And it seems as if so said, so done. But what of this game, Circle? This game is coming up on Sunday. What of this game? What can we expect from a galvanized Manchester United versus a Chelsea team which seem to have been getting it right over the last couple of weeks? Can United pull off a win at home?
It's really hard to tell. We're really now shooting in the dark, because whereas we know the players, we really don't know what the lineup will be and what the strategy will be going to the game. We now have a new template. We now have a new manager with new ideas, new way of thinking. So we really haven't seen a pattern as yet. It's only one game, and to line up against Chelsea, clearly his approach will be a bit different. Coming up against a better team all around, better offense, better defense, new variables to take into account. So I'm really not sure what to expect at all from this Man U team. What I can say is that they should approach the game a bit more positively, especially coming off the back of such an impressive performance this week.
Definitely, definitely. And of course, the danger man over there at Chelsea, Cole Palmer, will be rearing to go for this one. And if you can stop Cole Palmer, Sir Cole, you can go a far way in stopping this Chelsea team. That seemed to be the template for a number of teams when it comes to facing Chelsea. Of course, Chelsea played Newcastle midweek, Sir Cole, and they went down Newcastle. They are now out of the Carabao Cup. It is Newcastle that has advanced, and I'm sure they will be licking their wounds and hoping to bounce back with a victory in this game, possibly against, you could say, a wounded United team, so to speak, now managerless per se, but it's at home. I'm sure the players will be looking to give a good account of themselves in front of their home fans at the Theatre of Dreams. So, this one should be a tight game, and it should make for an interesting watch, Circle. It should have quite a bit for the neutrals.
Well, definitely. It's always an anticipated game, Man U versus Chelsea. From back in the days of Drogba and when Ronaldo was at Man U, always hotly anticipated. And I mean, I don't think this one will be any less. Last season, it's served up quite a feast as well as it relates to some goals. So for the neutrals, it has to be entertaining.
But in terms of a scoreline, Sir Cole, where is your mind leaning? Or what says you in terms of a predicted scoreline?
It's really a difficult one to call. For sure, I expect both teams to be on the score sheet, probably multiple times, hoping Manu can, you know, put in something close to what they did versus Leicester. And just looking at the game, I'm thinking a 2-2 draw, an even share of the goals down the middle.
For this one, Sir Cole, I'm gonna go with the tried, tested, and proven new manager bounce effect, so to speak. We've seen it time and time again in the EPL that once a new manager comes in, is almost as if the team become galvanized and they find another gear. So I don't see this being any different. So I'm gonna back Manchester United to get a win over this Chelsea team. As you mentioned, the United team should be fairly confident having brushed aside Leicester. And of course, the Chelsea team would be somewhat disappointed, maybe low on confidence, as they lost to Newcastle midweek. I believe that game was played at Newcastle, St. James's Park. And
Mm.
this one, again, they're facing another team away from home. And again, if you look at the laws of average, the majority of matches at home tend to go in favor of the home team. So with that in mind, in addition to the new manager bounce or the new manager bounce effect, I'm backing Manchester United to get a 2-1 victory over this Chelsea team. But it should definitely be an interesting watch for the neutrals. Somewhat unpredictable, as you mentioned. We are not sure what we will be seeing from this Manchester United team. Will Van Nistelrooy make some radical changes? Or will it be same old, following a possible Ten Hag template? That is indeed the question, and that is what I'll be looking for in this matchup, Sir Cole. But of course, Van Nistelrooy's time might be short-lived, as possibly we may see in the stands the new manager who will take over thereafter, Sir Cole. So this might very well be Van Nistelrooy's last game in charge, in all honesty.
Yeah, it could very well be so. And just a note on Chelsea in that even though Chelsea lost to Newcastle, it really wasn't a Chelsea first string team, but I mean. So let's not read too much that it was that it, the Chelsea that will play on the weekend that last midweek is it really a shuffle like or a B team you would say that went over and played that cup game. So I'm not really perturbed by that result at all.
Definitely. It's a good point there, Sir Cole. It's definitely a good
Mm.
point. It should be a stronger Chelsea 11. It should be the tried, tested, and proven 11, which has been getting the job done for Chelsea in their recent games. But even so, Sir Cole, my feeling
Mm.
is these results tend to run through the team. So whether it's a B team, a C team, or a A team, a loss is a loss, so to speak. It's hyped in the media. You're out of a cup competition. It's one less trophy you have to play for, so to speak. And that to me would have taken a toll on the squad in general, even if it was a B squad or a shuffled pack that the manager placed out there. So, uh, while I may not read much into it, I think from an emotional point of view, from a mental point of view, I'm gonna give United the slight advantage in this one. And I think they will come away with 3 points, which they desperately need. So if this United team come play with a bit of desperation, play with a bit of purpose, then I think they have enough to get a win over this Chelsea team. But definitely a very interesting and competitive game coming up on Sunday. The next big game, Sir
Mm.
Cole, is Arsenal taking on Newcastle. This one, Arsenal is playing this one away from home over there at St. James's Park. And of course, last week, Arsenal managed a draw versus Liverpool. So this should be another interesting game. Can Arsenal bounce back to winning ways versus what you could say is a confident Newcastle team, especially in the comforts of home? What says you? How do you see this one playing out? Can Arsenal bounce back with a victory?
Yeah, I really don't see Arsenal dropping points in back-to-back games. Even though it is Newcastle, even though they're playing at home, I think Arsenal has enough positives, enough firepower to actually go out and get the job done. Still minus Odegaard, back with Saka, even though they have troubles in defense in terms of Gabriel and Saliba possibly being out, I still see Arsenal coming out of that game with 3 points. They have too much quality. They are too well coached, I think, to actually come out on the losing end against a Newcastle team, which really and truly hasn't been in any great form. So as I said, I wouldn't have looked too much into the Chelsea win, even though yes, yeah, a win is a win, but against which Chelsea? So they got that win, but I don't see them picking up 3 points or even a point against Arsenal come again this weekend.
I'm gonna take a slightly different view on this one, to be honest, Sir Cole. Latest word from the Arsenal camp is that Gabriel is now out injured. So while
Mm.
Saliba returns, his usual partner in crime is now out injured. So it will be interesting to see what the centre back pairing will be in this game. And of course, in the midfield, there might be a slight shuffle as well. New signing Moreno might get a start, and it will be somewhat disruptive in terms of the chemistry. Since Odegaard went down, it hasn't been the Arsenal of last season. There's a bit of dysfunction at this point in time in that team. It's not that silky Arsenal which we've come to know and appreciate. So to me, they might be hitting a rough patch at this point in time, circle, with the pack being shuffled, personnel being in and out, whether through suspension or injuries. And I think this is a perfect time for Newcastle to take them on, in all honesty. Isak is now back and scoring for Newcastle Circle, and he is always a danger man on the break. And as we saw last week, it was on the break that Liverpool found that equalizer through Mo Salah, Darwin Nunes making a run, confusing the defense. And then, of course, he played a ball for Salah to slot in. So it's a template which Liverpool have shown Newcastle. And I do believe, Sir Cole, that Newcastle has enough ammunition to create an upset. And of course, the history between these two teams is something to look at as well. It's always been some high scoring, very entertaining games, Newcastle versus Arsenal. And it's quite possible that we may relive one of those moments come Sunday as well.
Well, anything is possible. We never know. We can only guess and hope that it goes the way that we that we see it. And West, I expect goals to be scored, and I expect Arsenal to get the majority of them. So whereas it is that Newcastle could find a goal, because I really don't see them scoring more than once. Arsenal's defense is just that good. Yeah, they concede twice versus Liverpool, but factor in that yes, it is Liverpool, and two they did have one of the normal defensive players available, but yet still I expect them to get the better of Newcastle. I don't think Newcastle has enough this season to overcome them, at least not at this point.
In interesting read there, Circle. Interesting read. But to be honest, Circle, I have confidence in this English manager, Eddie Howe. He has a tactical brain. He was touted as becoming the England manager as well, Circle. So the English FA sees the quality in this manager, and I also see it, and I feel he will devise a plan that will upset the apple cart. I think Arsenal is going through somewhat of a transitional period at this point in time where Arteta is still trying to compensate for the loss of key centre back or key players. I don't think he has found the right formula since Odegaard went down. And then, of course, just behind that has been the suspension of players through red card, and injuries is now plaguing the team. As I mentioned, Gabriel went down injured. Saliba should be back, but Saliba should possibly have a new pairing at the heart of that defense. As to who it will be, I am not sure. It could be a Ben White, which will then further disrupt the defensive unit, where you would now probably have to bring in a right back, or it could be Kivier, who has played at centre back as well. So it could be a Saliba Kivier partnership, but these players have not played a lot of games together. That is for sure, regardless of who comes in for Gabriel. So this is a chink in the armor circle, and I feel Newcastle will expose it come Sunday. The likes of a Garden, Isak, Barnes, speedy players who can run in behind and really show up this Arsenal defense.
Yeah, provided they get a chance to do so, and I really don't think they will get many chances to do so at all. So even if they do manage to carve out a goal, that's it. They really will like carve out too. Will one goal be enough to beat Arsenal? I don't think so.
Well, it might not necessarily end in a Newcastle victory, but they could possibly hold on for a draw.
Yeah,
And
it
as
is
we've seen
possible.
in previous years, Arsenal is notorious for back-to-back draws.
Fine. That's a possible reading. My take on it is Arsenal will go this weekend and get the 3 points, and it will be a routine win. It won't be a one goal margin. Two
So you're
plus
saying
differential between
routine Arsenal win then, Sir Cole.
another dominant routine Arsenal win. Yes,
What
sir.
says you in terms of a predicted scoreline then?
3-0 Arsenal.
3-0 to the Arsenal. That's a very bold call. I am not seeing it that way any at all, Sir Cole, to be honest. I think Newcastle in front of their home fans inside that cauldron, which is St. James's Park, with the likes of Isak back up and running, Garden Barnes, Bruno Guimaraes pulling the strings in that midfield, and possibly this team playing on the break. I think Liverpool showed them the template to get the better of this Arsenal team. And I feel with the defensive pieces missing for Arsenal, I feel Newcastle will expose a few chinks in the armor. So while I may not necessarily see Newcastle winning and completely upsetting the apple cart, I can see Newcastle drawing this one, Circle. So for me, I'm gonna go with a 2-2 draw in this game.
But if you check the midweek result, where it was basically a full strength Newcastle team versus the Chelsea B team, it was still only a goal to nil. So with a much improved Arsenal unit, who are also midweek winners, at I add.
Well,
Uh,
I believe Newcastle plays two past Chelsea, Circle. I believe one of those goals was our own goal, but it ended
oh,
what 2-0,
oh,
I believe, if memory serves me correctly.
correct. I'm really not sure. Last I
Yeah,
saw,
2-0, I
I saw
believe.
at
Yeah,
1-0. At
I
what
think it was 2-0. It ended.
was 2-0.
That's right.
Still,
Isak getting on the score sheet, of course.
okay. Yeah, man. Gunners, guys, Gunners, 1-3. Well, they scored three midweek. If I'm correct. Havertz, Gabriel, Jesus, and I don't remember
Yeah,
who else it was
they
that got that
scored
goal.
3-1 versus Preston 3-0.
Exactly. So yeah, man. Another routine win, as I say. 3 points and scoring 2 plus
Three
goals.
goals.
Correct.
Well, definitely this should be an interesting watch, Circle, especially for the
Mm,
neutrals. I feel this game will be closer than one thinks. I don't think it will be I don't think anything will be routine about this game. In all honesty, my read on it is that Arsenal will go there, try to dominate possession, of course, which they should do, but Newcastle should be looking to play on the break and building whenever they do. get a chance with the ball. But definitely look out for those speed merchants trying to run in behind this Arsenal team, Circle. But a number of other games are on display, Circle. Let's quickly run through some of these other fixtures of keen interest coming up. So we also have Bournemouth facing, you could say, a injury hit Man City team, Circle. Is it this the first time that Pep is facing so many injuries?
In from memory, just off the top of my head, then quite likely yes. But again, too much quality. May probably feel that there's something there for the taking. But so long as they have Haaland on the field, I think Bournemouth is likely to concede, and I still see Man City coming out the victor, even though Bournemouth may get a goal or two.
Definitely. I agree with you, dear Sir Cole, that still too much quality in this Man City team. And once you have that man Haaland up front, then anything is really possible. So for me, to me, this one should be a routine Man City win, Circle.
Mm.
I would not follow the media hype about injuries. There is still enough quality in this Man City team to hurt Bournemouth, and I think they will hurt them, and they will hurt them multiple times, so to
Mm.
speak. uh, Next big game, Circle, Liverpool plays host to Brighton. Of course, these two teams met midweek as well in the Carabao Cup. Liverpool running away 3-2 winners, I believe. What says you as it relates to this clash in the EPL? This one taking place at Anfield.
Yeah, another exciting game. Looking forward to some attacking football there. However, Liverpool has shown that it doesn't matter who the opponents are. They come out and are on the front foot, looking to be attacking, and expect them to maintain their streak and get the better of Brighton in this one. Despite even though that Brighton has been putting in some good displays. They will create some chances, may even get on the score sheet as well, but still advantage Liverpool.
I agree, Sir Cole, but I do believe the new coach Shine is now rubbing off, Sir Cole. That new
Mm.
coach Shine is now rubbing off. I'm seeing some glimpses of Liverpool of old, especially from a defensive point of view, Sir Cole. So I'm gonna be keeping a keen interest in this one, of course. But yes, I do believe Liverpool should have enough quality to get the better of this Brighton team. I do believe, though, it should be a much more competitive game as opposed to midweek, where Liverpool had pretty much led all the way in that one and only met with some resistance very late into the game where Brighton pulled back two. But at Anfield, in front of the cup, I think this Liverpool team should have enough to get the better of Brighton. But I'm thinking Brighton should get on the score sheet. So for me, I'm gonna go with 3-1 in this game, Circle. I don't think Brighton has the defensive qualities to really keep this Liverpool attack at bay. That man Gagpo, red hot on form, getting two against the midweek. And of course, Salah will be Salah. So enough firepower in the Liverpool squad to get the job done versus this Brighton team. But I don't believe Liverpool will keep a clean sheet in this one. Liverpool have been showing their defensive quality thus far this season. The best defense in the league, Circle, taking over from Arsenal of last year. But I do believe Brighton will breach that defense. Of course, goalkeeper Alisson is still out, and that is an area of weakness that Brighton may look to exploit. But Liverpool to win that one, Circle. What says you though in terms of Forest versus West Ham?
Forest versus West Ham get 3 points against Manu last weekend, albeit gift penalty at the end to secure those 3 points. Um, Forest has been doing very well in the league. Keeping a very strong defense while getting a few. And even though West Ham may feel a bit confident approaching that game, I'm tempted to go with Forest. Nonetheless, not really many big names, but seem to be playing very effective football as a unit. And I'm thinking that they will get the better of West Ham.
I agree completely, Sir Cole. To me, Forest has been the surprise team of the season thus far in terms of the results they've been getting and the sort of football they have been playing. So I'm gonna lean towards a draw in this one, to be honest with you. West Ham has shown some glimpses. Of course, Forest is at home, so it would not surprise me if Forest did win, but I feel West Ham might put up a bit more resistance in this game and come away with a draw for that one. But another big game, Sir Cole, which is taking place is Spurs versus Aston Villa. That is gonna be one with, I think, with a lot of goals. Spurs versus Aston Villa. What says you, Sir Cole? Of course, Spurs taking care of business midweek against the mighty Man City, knocking them out of the Carabao Cup. And of course, Aston Villa losing to a rejuvenated Crystal Palace team, Sir Cole. That was a big surprise. But these two teams now clash. What's your read on this game?
One of the better games on the weekend, one of the games I'm personally looking forward to. Um, Spurs, they do have their moment when they can be extremely good, when they can be brilliant, when they can be ruthless. And on the other hand, you know, they have a time when they can really surprise in terms of the opposite end of things. They really don't play as well as they should. So having played so well in midweek, we're still guessing as to which Spurs may actually show up on the weekend. So Palace got their first win versus this Spurs team. Many other teams have successfully been able to deny Palace, and we saw Palace holding one of the better attacks in the
Right.
league in Spurs, scoreless, and scoring one of their own. So
And
come
then
this
Spurs
weekend,
bouncing back versus Man City, Circle.
bouncing back
It's almost as if they're
versus
blowing
Man
hot
City.
and cold.
I Cole is a yo-yo, and I think up and down, up and down. So
Very unpredictable then.
very unpredictable, extremely volatile. You know, one of those elements in chemistry. But for this weekend, I am hoping that the attacking side at least of Spurs will show up. We know that at Palace on their day can score some goals. Mateta, I think got a goal or two recently. So in
And that
terms
man
of
Eze as well.
and Eze can show up and do something. So I'm thinking still that Spurs should possibly get the better of Palace, because I really don't see
Well,
Palace
Aston Villa,
being able
Aston
to
Villa.
Aston Villa.
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, Aston Villa, they too have a moment when they can, you know, not
Hot and
do
cold.
as well,
But they've
especially
been doing quite
defensively.
well this season, though, Circle, to be honest, despite the defensive fragilities. They've been leaking goals, but at the other end, you're putting them in the back of the net and really getting some results.
But I really don't think that they're as effective as they were last season. Last season, I think their numbers were a lot more impressive than they do this season. We see I see them relying heavily on Duran off the bench. Last season, the goals were a lot more fluent. They came with a lot more regularity for this team, not though they're relying heavily on the goal at the death to actually get something from the games. So I think that if Spurs should be able to score two or more goals, then they should be able to actually put too much daylight between themselves and Aston Villa for this game.
Well, one thing for sure, Circle, I'm expecting multiple goals from these two teams. In all honesty, I believe these two defenses are very extremely porous and they do have firepower within their squad to breach each other's defense on a regular basis. In all honesty, I don't think this one will be any sort of defensive masterclass. It may be a masterclass in attacking football. So I expect multiple goals from both teams. As to who will win, I am not too sure, to be honest, Circle. Hence the reason I'm going to call this one down the middle. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw for this game, Circle. 2-2 draw. The big guns coming out, getting the goals, but these two teams, I don't believe, will be able to separate themselves.
Yeah, we do see the goals. We do see multiple goals, but and so sometimes that's really what do you call it now? One of the things which makes it go differently. When it's heavily touted to go one way, sometimes it actually goes the other. So I'm thinking it may not be such a shootout in the end, and it just peter out to a 2-1 Spurs win.
Ah, these are all possibilities, all
It's our
possibilities. But Sir
possibilities.
Cole, any final thoughts? We're pretty much coming to the end of the podcast. What's your final thought as it relates to going into this weekend?
Looking to see how Manu play a second game under a new manager. Looking to see how they will line up, what any new ideas that can be evident by the new manager, new style of play. I'm just looking forward to some attacking play and enjoy the weekend of football.
Definitely looking for some entertaining football as well, Sir Cole. In all honesty, this should be a fascinating weekend as it relates to the results coming out of the EPL. I mean, we're just about quarter of the way through the season, and the table is beginning to take shape. But viewers and subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast, Sir Cole. My thanks goes out for coming on board and really sharing your thoughts and your opinions. Definitely some bold call there as it relates to some predictions. And I'll be here to see how these predictions play out. But viewers and subscribers, continue to help us to grow by, of course, sharing, liking, leaving your comments. Tell us what's your prediction. Can Manchester United bounce back versus this Chelsea team? Will Van Nistelrooy get his first win as an EPL manager? All this and more coming up on the weekend. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.